I would like to take some questions from the audience, and we have some queries from the audience which I'd like to quickly take up with the panelists. To begin with, I'd like to get architects Manish Kumat on center stage again. Can architecture and facade lighting used to illuminate landmarks give a major boost to travel and tourism sector in India?
When we talk of architectural facades, monuments, history, legacy, everything, what happens in India is most of these facades, the moment they are connected to tourism, it is a day tourism. People visit in the day. For example, if I say Mandu or Maheshwar, which is very close to us, people visit in the day, come back in the night, or if they stay in the night, they stay in the resort, and there is no connection between staying in the resort and experiencing the facades. Somewhere I feel, this this thing has to go. This thing has to go. Why the facades should be seen only in the day? Why the experience should be only there in the day? Why can't we experience the facades in the night? Why can't Mandu at night? Why can't Maheshwar at night? Why can't Khajuraho at night? Maybe touching, maybe closing. You see the facades from a distance, maybe 200 meters away. But these facades, they are witness. There were people who were living over there. Can we see with a sensitive designer trying to illuminate this facade and making tourism possibility, wherein tourism possibility happens across the night, across the country, where these facades are witnessed even in the night, and they have a very different language. So I think when I went and when I questioned this to myself, and I went and I googled, I saw that the government is now making an effort. Only maybe 10 facades in the country they have allowed to be seen in the night, in which Taj Mahal is not yet there. So maybe there are some safety or security concerns. But having said that, this would change the face of tourism. This would change the face of lighting industry. This would change the face of hotels, hospitality, experiencing architectural facades in night.
Now, moving on to Nirmit again. Nirmit, I'd like to combine two questions to you which have come from audience. How can we avoid excessive, misdirected, or obtrusive use of light? If I put it in one word, light pollution, when designing and executing facade lighting and monuments or buildings. And further, how would you try and segregate the two? Would be your approach to design to heritage structure vis-a-vis monuments. I'll try and combine all the two queries from the audience into one.
Like we have 2-3 projects where we had done various approaches depending on the time it was done. I mean, the oldest one which was done where the right kind of engineering and selection of the equipment, and that was one of the first thing we did before the project goes for installation. So to minimize the light pollution, looking at the form of the building, taking the right intensity and the right optics of the fixture. That was number one. Secondly, it's beautiful integration with the adjoining surface so that it looks beautiful during the daytime. That was another thing. The third one, where recently what we did was we used very beautiful masking optics to mask the light in such a way that it only falls on the building. What in popular way people get 3D mapping. So you map the building, you scan the building, or you photograph the building, its outlines, its openings, or its ornamentation also, and you beautifully project light only on that area. So that is, I think, the current technology really helps to do that, and in a very respectable manner, because with the old buildings you can't really go close or integrate something there. There are issues of integrating service, which Shruti ji said that even Parul ji said that there is a problem of fire and all that, because we are reusing these buildings which they were not meant for. Like Manish said that how would it look during the night in the old times when there were masti and moj, or so because we are the time has passed, the way of life has changed, our activity needs has changed for this building, and we are reusing those buildings to become a landmark because there is already excessive light surrounding in the surrounding areas. So a careful analysis of how much you should light. So you have to first study how much light is around this building, and then set a hierarchy and select a right level of light. Secondly, you mask the light so it doesn't go in the sky. And thirdly, and very importantly, also sometimes brightness is not the only parameter to create that contrast. A color temperature, a creative use of color temperature can also create depth. So, so using the right contrast or right balance of brightness can also do wonders. Thirdly, you can also use patterns. You don't need to floodlight the building. You can, we are in tropics. We are not in Scandinavia or somewhere. So here we can create beautiful patterns like we see in nature around us, tropics, beautiful lights falling through the leaves of the tree and all. So these are the various ways in which you can really control the light pollution. You can create the impact which was needed and in an original manner that is suitable to our geography, to our culture.
Shruti, can facade lighting help in driving more revenue and ROI for the government?
Yeah, definitely. Because there are various kind of lighting solutions available. I mean, as we discussed earlier also, architectural, emotional, and communicative. So especially this communicative, which has, which has boundless scope to carry text, animation, and these kind of brand values can be put up there. So that can be one source of revenue generation. And secondly, if government is taking care of its own property in maintaining it properly and doing appropriate kind of architectural lighting or giving it for various other solutions, whether it may be communicative or some other sort. So it can definitely bring in a lot of revenue in terms of tourism, in terms of it can be direct revenue, it can be indirect revenue as well, but definitely it has to be done thoughtfully, carefully, and the style is to be picked according to the project requirement.
Gaurav, there's a query for you. What are the modern solutions or any recent technology revisions in facade lighting to make it more efficient and ensuring sustainable development?
There are several advances that are currently being made in the field. We are in the process of incorporating new features into luminaires now. RDM is one such feature, which is remote device management, which basically allows us to remotely monitor the health of fixtures when a fixture is about to fail or if there is a failure. Without actually going and physically inspecting the fixture, we can get a status update on our BMS, where we're monitoring where automation controllers, the DMX controllers have been installed at that site. We can get a pop-up and a message that the luminaire is not functioning correctly and it can be addressed effectively and in time. Apart from that, in sustainable facade lighting, there are a couple of companies in Europe that are working on some very interesting technologies wherein they are in the process of combining facade lighting luminaires along with photovoltaic cells. So basically creating luminaires that can work on solar power, can generate energy and utilize that energy to reduce the carbon footprint very effectively. So there are various new technologies that are currently in the works, and it's an interesting time ahead.
See, another sustainable way of promoting this lighting culture by night is involving the local people and creating a shared vision of what their monument wants to be. So when you do that, they take care of the monument. They also approve for the budget of that monument. And then, as a designer, our role would be to lead them to create their vision in a more sensible and appropriate way. So I think for not for a very big project, but maybe for the small projects or a pocket of such small projects like in the city of Indore or city of Udaipur or that. So that can really really deconcentrate the tourism. It can also bring in people to various nooks and corners of the city. So that means more generation of income, more liveliness in those public areas. And also there are other very interesting ways which can put the lighting manufacturer out of practice, which would be that there is a VR and AR, so you don't need to light the building. You just put the glass and you visit those buildings. When you are near to those buildings, you can have the imagery of that building and how it would look by night. And maybe I would say that would be your next business expansion from to create because see, that also requires a sensible approach, a top management skill, collaborating with many different VR people, AR people, graphics, storytellers, content tellers, musicians, and a lot of these things, and then so that would be the most sustainable way, because you are not using even a single lumen of light. And you still experience the building by night. You still enjoy the cafe or restaurant nearby. You do your shopping and see your stars also by night.
Ma'am, how do you think Government of India can initiate a policy towards preserving all heritage structures, viewed from the perspective of conservation and facade lighting, enhancing the structure to celebrate legacy?
Like what Nirmit said, this is what we had started doing, starting from Udaipur, that you start making the people partners in your development. So it has to become a public movement. It has to become a movement of people to conserve and preserve our monuments, and also take it further. And especially where conservation is concerned, I would also say that Government of India should also put in one of the rules, which I'm sure most of the architects and manufacturing companies won't like. That is that you have to use local materials, you have to use sustainable materials, and you have to use local karigars, so that and take people as partners in conserving this. So they will ensure and do things with pride. They will ensure that their monuments are conserved, preserved, and they themselves, if given the right policies, given the right inputs, and if we can create kind of, someone like Amitabh Bachchan comes and says that, you should preserve it, and you have to be proud about it, people will really start valuing it. Unless someone from outside comes and tells them, they don't value it. So we have to create that pride in people. If government takes up that as an initiative, and companies like yours can also help into that, and like what Nirmit said, that let them decide what kind of lighting they would want to have their buildings to have. And you can change, if you want to create tourism, also you can change the kind of lighting you're doing, that Monday it's going to be like this, and see, maximum people will stay for 1 or 3 days, maximum 3 days in a city. So to make them come again to create revenue, you have to change the way you're lighting up the building. And that would also help in attracting people.
A very small thing, although I feel it's a very, very far-fetched thing, because right now we are struggling with, lighting of simple street poles. But at the same time, we can take, if our ambition is high, we can always strive for it, make small efforts, baby steps. Right now we are aiming at monuments and special buildings. But at the same time, when we are master planning a city, at that level, in some of the Western countries, developed countries, they also make a lighting master plan so that there is no wastage of light, you know. So that kind of balance is created, and first of all, there is no wastage of light, there's no wastage of energy, resources, and at the same time, it brings out a wonderful outcome because the whole plan has been made. It's a very, I would say, a well thought of approach. So this should be there. Of course, this will take many years to come to India, but it should be there at least in our minds that such things should be approached and can be done. Maybe there could be a pilot project, the new cities which are coming up, small cities which are coming up. So like, Naya Raipur or those kind of projects, they should really focus on such ideas.
On behalf of Jaquar Group, I take the honor once again to thank all of you. I think you have been wonderful panelists. It was a very, very engaging discussion. And at the same time, all the queries that the audience have, what we could take in the permissive time limits we have taken, but we would love to address all the queries from our honored audience. So whatever you write to individual panelists, we'll definitely get back to you on your registered email addresses available with us. Thank you so much, Parul ji, Manish Kumat ji, Dirvat ji, Shruti, Gaurav. I think it's been quite an engaging session and so much insightful to all of us. Looking forward to meeting you all again on some other forum as we continue the series. Thank you so much and have a great evening.